Hello and welcome to our Q&A session this evening. I'm Karen Brook. Very happy to have you here for a very informal evening, really. I'm here to answer your questions that you've submitted in advance and any that come up over the next hour or so that you would like to have me answer for you. It could be to do with anything: business, career, life, love, money, relationships, family. One of the things when I work with clients and when I work with you is that we don't work on anything in a silo. So if you can improve or make some changes in one area of your life, I guarantee that every other area will benefit from that. So I wanted to create this session for you this evening, this Q&A session dedicated to you. Not only just as a dedicated Q&A session, but also as a follow-up to the amazing session that we had last week on your paradigm power, unlocking your purpose, prosperity, and profit. So you can bring questions from that session to tonight as well, really anything. We've had a rush of people register in the last hour or so, so I haven't been able to collate everyone's questions that they submitted in advance. So you'll have to use the Q&A in your control panel in Zoom. You'll see there is a Q&A function and you can actually submit your questions to me there. If you're watching this live inside my Winner's Circle Facebook group, then feel free to comment on the thread there and I'll try and keep an eye on it as we go through tonight. And similarly, if you're watching this live on YouTube, I'll do my best to try and pick up questions from there if I can. Otherwise, look up Karen Brook's Winner's Circle on Facebook and get yourself in my Winner's Circle, and it'd be an easy, nice place for you to be able to ask those questions and make sure that I don't miss them. So a few options for you tonight. So like I say, in Zoom, just a little bit of housekeeping for this evening. There is a Q&A box and feel free to type your questions in there. If you want me to answer it anonymously, then just put that in the text. And I will try not, I will do my best to keep you incognito around that question. So one of the beautiful things, I love teaching through Q&A sessions because as you ask a question or as somebody else asks the question, everyone tuning into this now or with the recording really benefits from it. That's just the beautiful thing. And also what I love about Q&A sessions is that you invoke the law of cause and effect. Now, if the law of cause and effect is a new idea to you, it's one of the universal laws that I teach you about and teach you how to work in harmony with. And that as you put out good energy and as you're putting out good, so you're gifting your question to our community this evening, you're actually going to receive good back to you. And you can't know when you share a question in a forum like this and I answer it, how many thousands of people will benefit from that by you asking that question. So that's a lot of good that you can send out into the universe to set forth a lot of good coming back to you. So how are you feeling this evening? How has your week been? I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a note. Tell me who's on the call tonight. I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to check in on my Winner's Circle and see who has tuned in there as well. So I'd love to hear from you. Let me know who you are and where you're from tonight, where you're watching this from. Introduce yourself. And we're going to get started really soon. And you can also submit your questions in the Q&A or put the question in the Winner's Circle there as well. So I'm going to keep an eye on these threads at the same time together, which is really exciting. I'm really excited to be here with you tonight. I'm still here on the Gold Coast. So if you've been following me over the last few weeks, we're doing no fixed address. If you had told me 12 months ago that I would have packed up my family, selling our house, putting everything in storage with a number 2 baby on the way in a couple of months' time, I probably would have told you that you're crazy. But you know what? When you decide that you want to upgrade your life, and when you decide that you want different things, we wanted a different house, then at some point in time, you've got to make a decision to go for it. So whether that's for you, you might be right now really focused on your business or career. You might not feel like you have as much time for family or the relationships that you want. Perhaps you've reached a plateau in terms of how much money you've been earning, and it's kind of okay money, but you want to earn more money. Whatever is going on for you right now, at some point in time, you do have to make a decision, and you've got to draw a line in the sand and say, this we shall do. Now, when we decided to move out of our house, we still don't have another house to buy. But an outsider looking in on that would say that's pretty crazy. Like, why would you move out of your house, put it on the market, put everything into storage? You've got a 21-month-old baby. You've got a business that operates all over the world. You've got another baby due in January. Why the hell would you do that? But see, I know something about how this works. And if you want what you want, you've got to be willing to make the decisions and then start to think and act like the person that has already got them. And that's going to be pretty scary and pretty confronting. But, that's why tonight is really important. So you can ask those questions about, how do I do this? Or what do I do? Or what should I do? Or where should I start with this situation? I've done so much with this material in the last 5 years. I remember 5 years ago, if you could have seen me 5 years ago. In fact, I remember a bit of a turning point was I was throwing at my 30th birthday, and there are two things about my 30th birthday I want to tell you about. Number one was that I decided that I was going to have a boyfriend at my 30th birthday. Yes, that is true. I'd been single for about 8 years, well and truly very single. And I decided that, you know what, enough is enough. I deserve an amazing relationship in my life. And he is going to be there with me at this 30th birthday party that I'm going to throw for all of my friends. I'm going to put on a massive show for them. And I met him 3 months before my 30th birthday, and we started dating, and we were probably together for maybe 6 weeks before my 30th birthday. So that's the first thing that I wanted to tell you about that. But the second thing about my 30th birthday is that I remember being at a bit of a crossroads. About 3 months before, a similar time to when I met my husband, I had also got to a point in my life where I knew something had to give. I had been searching for probably a good couple of years before that. To be honest, what was wrong with me? And why wasn't I achieving the success that I thought I should have been for where I was in my career? I had built a business, and I'd been working in my own business since I was 18. I'd always been self-employed. I was traveling the world. I was doing all of these amazing projects and doing huge deals. But on the inside, I just did not feel satisfied. I really felt like something was missing. And maybe you can relate to that as well, where you've been really focused on your business, really focused on your career, and yet you don't feel satisfied. Something is missing. And you're also wondering, why is it that I'm earning okay money, but I can't seem to break through this ceiling? And that's certainly how I felt. I felt like I should have been further along in my business financially, or in my career, or where I was living. I was living in a tiny little 2-bedroom unit at the time. And there were just lots of little parts about my life that I remember sort of turning 30, or knowing that I was going to turn 30, and thinking, enough is enough. Like, I must be missing something here. And I'm a pretty well-educated woman. I graduated from a great university. I had a great education. I would say I'm pretty clever with what I do. And yet I was sitting there thinking, I must be missing something, because I've got all of this knowledge and information, but my results don't seem to match what I consciously know. And that led me on a little bit of a search. And like we all do, we jump on YouTube and we start to read books. And I had my angel cards and my affirmations and all sorts of things. I didn't really know what I was doing with any of it. To be fair, I really thought law of attraction was a bit of a, I didn't understand it. I didn't respect it. I probably rejected it. I thought that's a bit kooky. And through that whole process of a couple of months, I remember finding a meditation with this man named Bob Proctor. And I don't know why and how I was drawn to it, but spirit clearly was guiding me down a pathway. And it's funny, you can connect the dots looking backwards, but you can never connect them looking forwards. And I started to do this meditation, and in it there was the first concept ever around repetition. And in it he says, listen to this every day for 30 days. And it was on abundance. And that's where I felt like, that's what I was really working on within myself, was this abundant state. And on day 14 of that meditation, I remember sitting bolt upright in bed, like possessed, and thinking, I'll never, ever forget this, because I've told it on stage in front of thousands of people. I work extremely closely with Bob Proctor now as a top consultant with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And I remember sitting bolt upright in bed and thinking to myself, this man knows something that I have never heard anybody else teach. And I had studied, I was studying a master's degree. I was studying with some of the most intellectually clever, spiritually connected people all over the world. And I thought, I've never heard anyone teach it so simply as to what was missing, as to why I felt like I had plateaued, why I felt stuck, why I really wasn't living the life that I always imagined. It was this elusive dream or fantasy that I had just kept convincing myself that I wasn't old enough yet, that I didn't have enough education, that it wasn't my time, and all of these stories that I was too young, right? I was actually too young for the success that I wanted yet. I'd just have to wait another 10 years until I hit my 40s, and hopefully, and then like maybe I'd be where I wanted to be. Like, this was what was going through my head. And maybe you can resonate with this. Do you ever find yourself thinking these kind of things? And what was such a gift when I started to study and work with Bob, and I made a committed decision to make him my mentor, what I learned was that I wasn't broken. There was nothing wrong with me. It was just that I was creating results from a level of consciousness that was far below what I was capable of. And he helped me understand a few really, really important things about myself and about my mind and about universal law and about how I fit into this world. And it changed everything for me. It truly did. In an instant, I had this peace and calmness and confidence back within myself that for the first time in a very, very long time, I knew with absolute certainty that I could be in control of creating the future that I wanted, that my dreams and fantasies didn't have to be a fantasy, that I could use those and I could turn them into a goal, and that I could use that to change the course of my life. And I'm so grateful that I had the courage to bet on myself and to start working with him, and to very quickly see that it was also the missing piece of my coaching. It was also a missing piece of, I was doing a lot of coaching, a lot of traditional business coaching. I had run a branding and marketing company for 8 years. So naturally, I was working with a lot of people around strategy and execution and how to build their businesses and how to grow their businesses. And I was very, very good at it. But I could even see that there was a gap. And without question, what I teach you is the gap that is missing in everything that you're doing. There is no doubt about it. And once you get this missing piece and you really get the puzzle together, no matter what sort of success you've accomplished up until this point in time, you can quantum leap it. And I knew that when I started to work with him. I knew that I needed to bring this back, and I needed to start to make it a foundation to everything that I was doing. And so what happened then was I basically made it a rule that if you are to work with me, then you have to get into this foundation, because I can teach you certain things about your business, about money, about relationships, about anything. But if you don't have this foundation, then it's kind of irrelevant. And I have dedicated the last 5 years of my life to studying this and to teaching it. And I know that I'm only saying 5 years. Bob's been at it for 85 years. But I have become his top consultant in the world teaching this. And so I will continue to dedicate the rest of my life to it. And I want to share with you some of that tonight through this Q&A session. And I hope that tonight I can bring you some peace and you some confidence and some direction and help you to make the decisions that are necessary to move you forward in your own life and to really quantum leap the next decade, because we are moving into a new decade. In case you hadn't read the memo, it's 2020 in about, I don't know, 39 days or something like that. So I really want to help you make the first year of the next decade the best year of your life. So if you're sitting there right now and you know that you want it all, but you don't know how, and you refuse to be left behind, you refuse to go another 12 months being in the same position, then really tune in. Give me your full attention for the next 60 minutes. If you have a question that bubbles up, be vulnerable and courageous enough to ask it, because it's there for a reason. It's looking for an answer. It's looking for guidance. And know that you are listening to this, watching this, you've been drawn to this for a particular reason, whether that is live or via the recording. There is something here for you tonight that is going to connect with you, that is going to speak to you. And I want you to be certain that you will respect yourself enough to act on it. All right, let's get into some questions this evening. I'm going to start off with this question from Ali. And this is probably a little bit of a question, I'm guessing, off the back of last week's Your Paradigm Power. So she says, I have several paradigms I would like to shift. How many can I work on at one time? And how do I know which ones to work at shifting first? So thank you so much for your question, Ali. I'm going to start off by reaffirming what a paradigm is. So a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior, and almost all of your behavior is habitual. Think about that. When you wake up in the morning, there is a routine that you move into. You don't have to think about it. It just happens automatically. If you live with somebody, you'd be able to make a written description of their routine. And if you're smart, you won't screw around with it, because people love routine. We love habit. We're a creature of habit. And so a paradigm is like a mental program. It's a number of ideas, beliefs, and images that are coming together to condition you to operate in a certain way. There's 7 key areas that paradigms control and influence in your life. Your use of time, how you perceive and use time, your ability to earn money. These two are very, very closely linked. Most people, I would say 97% of the population, have a time and money paradigm that says I have to work very hard, very long hours in return for the small amount of money that I get. Imagine if that was the only 2 paradigm shifts that you made. You changed your use of time and your ability to earn money, what that could do for your life. If you could earn 3 times as much money in half the amount of time, what that would do for your life. I actually did that. I made a decision to do that about, I'm going to say a couple of years ago. Before I started my family, I made a paradigm shift around my time and money. If you want to know more about that story, just let me know in the chat and I can share it with you tonight as well. How I did that, what I did, what it looked like in terms of transforming the business, and that'll give you some ideas about that, the fact that you can do it too. So if I can do it, you can do it, and I can teach you how to do it, which is great because that's what we're here to do. So use of time, money, relationships, creativity, productivity, your effectiveness, and your logic are all controlled by paradigms. The biggest and most important, and probably I think the most powerful paradigm you ever play in your life, is your self-image paradigm. Your self-image dictates what you draw in from the outside, and it also dictates what you can create. The thing about self-image is you have 2, and you cannot outperform it. A lot of people think I'm just going to work hard, push hard, go and get another degree, get a better job, and they think that's going to solve the problem, and it doesn't, because the self-image on the inside hasn't changed. So that's something that I can teach you how to do, how to actually change the self-image paradigm so that you automatically, that's what I love about this, is it becomes automatic. It becomes so easy. You automatically start to create what you want. So that's just a little bit of a summary of what a paradigm is. Now, this question is around, I have several of them. So Ali hasn't said specifically which ones she would like to shift, but she said there's several. How many can I work on at one, and how do I know which ones to work at shifting first? Well, you can definitely really only work on one paradigm shift at a time. The reason why we can only work on one is a paradigm is a multitude of habits, beliefs, and ideas. And so we're actually going to change the paradigm by changing one or two things at a time. And that's a little bit of a process to go through. But once you start to get into that process, you know that that shift will be permanent. If we try to change 2 or 3 paradigms at once, what do you think is going to happen on the human mind and the human body? It's going to reject it. It's going to be too much going on. Psychologists have likened change to the human mind like torture. We actually don't like it. We don't like change even when it's for our own good and when we're really going to benefit from it. So if you can imagine, if you're trying to work on a time paradigm, a money paradigm, a relationship paradigm, all of these things at once, you're actually going to reject 99% of it, and nothing will change, and everything will stay the same, which is not what you want, but it's actually what the paradigm wants, for nothing to change. So we want to set you up for success. So when I work with you, it's all about doing certain things in a certain way, actually getting you to calm down, to focus, so you can speed up and make a quantum leap. It's a very different way of operating. It's a very different style of coaching, but it's very, very effective because we work at the root cause in changing the paradigm. A lot of people, when they think about results and they think about wanting to, let's say, I want to improve my business income, I want to improve my turnover, therefore I've just got to go out and sell more, or I've got to get new clients, or I've got to put my prices up, let's say. But the root cause of that is actually a money paradigm programmed in the subconscious mind, which is very likely linked to self-image. It's also linked to logic and perception. And so even though you might decide to take new behavior for a period of time, that new behavior is not in line with what needs to change subconsciously. And so the results don't change permanently. So it's really important to understand these different parts of how the paradigm functions and really learn how to change it and work at the root cause for that shift to be permanent. So to answer your question, Ali, we only really want to work on one at a time. Second part of the question was, which one do I work on shifting first? You want to work on shifting the one first that you believe will bring the greatest, I'm going to say freedom, but work on the paradigm, or shifting the paradigm that will free you up and put you most in alignment with how you want to be living and creating, most in alignment with the goal. So if you're looking around at the moment and you're like, this result, I'm really not happy with. So I'm really not happy with this relationship or the relationships that I have around me. I have felt like that before, where the relationships around me haven't been the happiest, and it was a paradigm that I wanted to change. And so I really focused on changing that, because as I changed my perception and the relationships that I was in or had around me, I actually became happier and healthier and more confident. And so other areas of my life flourished. My business flourished, my income flourished, all the different areas. So I would be looking at the area at the moment that would bring you the greatest joy and the greatest shift. It could be money. You might be sick and tired of earning the same amount of money year on, year out. And I think at different times we all experience that, even when it's really good. Like, you can be earning great money, but you can still be sick and tired of earning that amount of money because there's no growth attached to it anymore. So you want to earn more money. And that could be the paradigm that's really frustrating you at the moment, your money paradigm. And so that's the one that you want to go to and work on first. It could be your use of time. You might feel like you never have enough time for family and friends, that you are burning the candle at both ends and you want to have a happier family or you want to have more kids. And so you need to really change your time paradigm, because what's the point in growing your business or earning more money and having a family if you don't have the time to enjoy it with them? And so we've got to really think about this, because the truth is that you can have it all and you can balance it the way you want it to be balanced. And that's something that I've learned how to do, which I'm so grateful for, because it really does make a very enjoyable, fun, peaceful, in control kind of life. And I don't think a lot of people have that. Maybe you don't even have that, where you might feel like you're on a roller coaster or things are spiraling out of control. But the truth is that you can get back in control of it. So anyway, there you go, Ali. That answers your question. I had another comment submitted here. Please keep sending in your questions in the chat as well. And I'll just go to this one here as well. Make sure I don't miss any. And this one. I had a comment come in with, this was from Doug Tyrrell. And he said, success is not a secret, it's a system. And he's got in brackets KB. I love it. Doug, thank you for that comment. There's a story behind this. In 2016, I started to do seminars and events. My first seminar and event was June 2016. Now, remember, I had built a very successful branding and marketing, or branding and design business, not so much marketing, branding and design business. But I too had to transform my self-image from being a respected leader in a branding and design business that I had started from scratch 8 years before, and transforming my self-image, the way I saw myself, the way I wanted other people to see me, into being a global leader as a high-performance coach, high-performance mindset coach. And so this was still a bit of a fear factor for me, because a lot of people knew me as having a branding and design business, not so much a leader in the human potential space. And so I had been working at this for about 18 months, nearly 18 months, before I started to put on my own events and seminars. And I remember the first one I did was June 2016, and I was so nervous that nobody would turn up. It was in Brisbane. It was such a terror barrier because, I grew up in Western Queensland. I grew up in the outback, and that was my network, was rural and regional. And so I'd spent the first 18 months going to where my clients were. I was going to their country towns, and I was doing seminars on back verandas and kitchen tables and tin sheds, and cows would walk through. True story. Like wherever I could get a group of people together, I would go and speak to them. And so it wasn't until June 2016 when Bob Proctor was like, you need to start doing this in your own backyard. You live in Brisbane. Why are you traveling all over Australia and you're not doing it in Brisbane? And again, that was a fear thing for me. I was a country girl. I wasn't a city girl. Who's going to come and see me in the city? This was what was going on in my head. I was, limiting what I thought I could accomplish in the big smoke, right? And now I'm on stage speaking in Los Angeles and Toronto and all over the world about this stuff. But it was scary. I was vulnerable. I thought no one's going to show up to these events. Anyway, so I put on my first seminar. It was June 2016, and I titled the event "Success is not a secret; it's a system." That was the title of my first Karen Brook produced event in Brisbane. I had been doing webinars and all sorts of other things in the lead up to that, and other people's events and speaking at other field days. But this was a Karen Brook produced event. And I remember inviting a whole bunch of friends. I said, you've got to come to this, because so the room looks full, because there was, such a fear of it would be, no one would be there. And you know what I learned about that, or through that process, is it's not, particularly if you're starting out in your own business or you're in the early couple of years of your career or what it is that you're doing, it's not the fact that you're scared of starting. It's the fact that you're scared of starting small and people seeing you start small. Particularly in my case, where I came from a very, very successful career and business in branding and design. And I was known and respected in that industry. And I was moving into a new industry in human potential, in human performance as an elite coach. And that's the image that I was holding. But I was starting small. I was out there getting, one client, two clients. And that's what we're scared of. It's that we are going to be seen to be starting small. And what will people think of me? And that was what was going through in my head. Anyway, so I put on this cracking event. It was a lunchtime event. It was this topic: success is not a secret, it's a system. And I just spoke about the system, about what this system would do for you in helping you to transform your life. And people loved it. They just couldn't get enough of it. It was such an amazing day. I had a whole stack of people come and join me in the coaching off the back of it. And they really, really loved it, because I think it's very easy to look at other people and think, well, they're successful because, and I'm not like them. But when you realize that success is not a secret, it is actually a system. It is doing certain things in a certain way every day, and you can make your results predictable. You can absolutely guarantee your success. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is going to be successful. Now, let me just reiterate this, because not everyone is going to follow the system. Not everyone is going to do it. Goals, if you think about the number of goals that aren't accomplished, less than 3% of the population actually accomplish their goals, but they become very disciplined at this. They become very focused at this. They become very committed. In fact, I don't even take clients on if they're not committed to their goals and solving their problems. I have no interest in working with anyone that's not really serious about creating change, because I can give you the perfect plan and I can teach you exactly what you need to do. But if you don't follow it, it doesn't work. But what I want you to understand is that it's not a secret. It is a system. And when you get the system and you understand how to funnel what you're doing through the framework, your success does become guaranteed. Your results become predictable. So there you go. All right, another question here from Brook. Tricks to keep work fun. What a great question. That's a fun question. Tricks to keeping the work fun. So I don't know whether she means work as in like the real work that she's going to do. And Brooke's a CEO of an organization, so I know who Brooke is. I don't know whether Brooke's talking about the work to keep the work fun, or whether the work as in the study and the learning how to work in harmony with the laws and the system and everything that I'm teaching you, that fun. But what comes to mind, Brooke, as I read that question, tricks to keeping the work fun, an article written by Thomas Troward comes to mind, and it's called Entering into the Spirit of It. I'm actually studying it, or taking my Inner Circle of Excellence clients through it at the moment, or that's one of the things that we're studying. And in the first paragraph of that article, he talks about entering into the spirit of a thing. If we do not enter into the spirit of a thing, it has no invigorating effect upon us. We regard it as dull, insipid, and lifeless. And I think that sums up why we want to enter into the spirit of whatever it is that we're doing. Our work, our job, being with our children, whatever it is, get into the spirit of it, be fully present, be connected with it. And as you are going about it, think good thoughts about whatever it is that you're doing. And if you can't think good thoughts about it, think neutral thoughts. The worst thing you can do is think negative or bad thoughts, because that energy has to flow through you first. So you're the one that misses out. It's like Sandy Gallagher, Bob Proctor's business partner, says that if you hate on another person, it's like you're drinking the poison, hoping the other person will die. When you send out negative thoughts to yourself or another person, that energy is flooding your mind and your body, and that is not going to benefit you whatsoever. So in terms of keeping things fun, if you want to keep things fun at work, get into the spirit of it. If you want to be in a better job, if you want to get a better career, be in the spirit of the one that you have, knowing that that will actually propel you and move you in the direction of where you want to go. Get your team or the people around you in the spirit of it. Think about leaving them with the impression of increase. This is lesson 11 of my coaching. Form the habit of leaving every single person better than you found them, whether that is the taxi driver, the checkout chick, the receptionist, the person who makes your tea and coffee. You know, make them feel good because they come in contact with you. I want you to sit down, Brooke, and I want you to think about 10 ways that you can form the habit of the impression of increase. 10 different ways at work, what it could look like to leave people with the impression of increase. It could be buying a cake one day, or writing a little handwritten note for somebody, or doing something unexpected. If you start to really think about, and you're in my coaching, Brooke, so I know that you'll be able to go and use this. You start to think about lesson 11, and you start to think about how I can really apply this concept at work. You're going to find that work just starts becoming fun, because you're growing, you're moving in the direction of your goal, you're making other people feel good, you're in the spirit of it, it's invigorating you, it's giving you life by being in the spirit of it. And you're going to find that every day is a fun day at work. Every day is a fun day at work for me. I love it. I'm in the spirit of it, helping you. So there you go. All right. Let's just check. I've got a few more questions here, but I just want to check around the chat box. See how we're going. Oh, lots of great questions coming here too. All right. Oh, thank you. I'm just reading the chat. Lots of comments there from the videos and the posts this week, which is great. Beautiful. So this question is from Shristi over in India. I would love to receive some help on how to let go and let God, like Bob says in his book, You Were Born Rich. So I want you to imagine that you are a garden hose, and a garden hose, when you switch on the tap, there is free flowing water that flows through the tap out the end of the hose. And you've got this flow of energy of the water. Now, I want you to imagine that your human body, is like a conduit for energy. And you are connected to source energy, to beautiful, unadulterated spirit. And that is flowing in through the crown of your head, down and all through your body, and it is flowing. And I want you to imagine, when you think of a garden hose, when it gets kinks in the hose, and the harder you try to unkink it, the tighter the kinks get and the less the water can flow. And this can happen in your life too, where you have kinks, you have paradigms, and you think, I've got to just try harder, I've got to push harder, I've got to, like in my case, you can think back, maybe 8 or 9 years, I've just got to try harder, I'm not smart enough yet, go and get another degree, make more phone calls, go to the gym more often, all of, just hard. And you can imagine, when you pull harder on a garden hose, the flow stops. And when he's talking about let go and let God, you've got to release. A quantum leap is achieved through release. You've got to learn how to unkink the hose, how to change the negative paradigms that are holding you back, that are forcing you to work harder, convincing you that that's the answer. You got to change them. You got to learn how to change them. And you change all the negative or bad paradigms or the limiting paradigms to positive ones, where it's free flowing, where it's easy, where it's effortless. And you've got to learn how to do that. And as you learn how to do that, you get this beautiful free flow of energy. And you're letting go. It's through release, but you are in control from within. You are giving God, source energy, spirit, whoever you believe in, very specific instructions as to what you want to create, because you have so learnt how to use your mind, and you have disciplined it to maintain certain images in certain ways that allow you to let go through release, knowing with faith and understanding that you are going to be creating what you want, because you've studied this, because you've really, really understand how to apply this to your life. And so you get this faith-based in understanding where you can be totally relaxed, ceaseless activity with this beautiful state of calmness, where you are going to work on your goal every day in every way, but in this beautiful, calm, relaxed state. I was doing some coaching with a client of mine in Germany tonight, and she said, "Oh, you know, there's a couple of physical setbacks. I just have to accept it's going to take a little bit longer to accomplish my goal." And I said, "You want to remember that your results are accomplished in your mind. It has nothing to do with the time or physical space involved. Everything that you want, you are creating from within in the mind, and the mind knows no physical limitations. The physical limitations are a product of your ignorance of how to properly use your mind to create what you want, and there is no such thing as time and space, so you can create what you want now." There's the answer to that question. What habits should I include in order to live from the place of acting as if I've already achieved my goal? This is another great question. So, what habits should I include in order to live from a place of acting as if? So, we talk about this, that you don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to become. And this is really misunderstood. A lot of people talk about and they speak on and teach on the law of attraction. And in fact, when The Secret came out, it left people with the idea that you just have to want something. But you don't get what you want, you get what you are a vibrational match for. So you don't get what you want, you get what you've been willing to become spiritually, mentally, and physically. And so when we talk about acting as if, you've got to get into the spirit that you've already got the goal. In fact, you want to get to the place where how you are showing up, how you're thinking, speaking, and acting is the exact replica of how you would speak, think, feel, and act if your goal, what you want, was physically here. And I'm going to guess there's a very, very big gap at the moment between that for everybody on this call, everybody listening to this. You're letting your present results, you're letting what's going on outside of you influence you. You're letting the amount of money in your bank account influence the decisions that you're making. You're letting your partner influence what you're going to do next. You're letting your diary tomorrow influence how you're going to feel about yourself and what you're creating. You're letting the email from the client or the prospect dictate how you feel about yourself as a business person or a salesperson, right? You're letting your physical results influence how you're acting and how you're thinking. What you need to learn how to do, and what I teach you how to do, is how to really live from within, how to really think, feel, and act like the person who already has the goal, the dream, the result, whatever it is that you want to create. And that mental discipline, once you learn how to do it, it'll set you up for creating any kind of success that you want, because it's all through feeling. It is all achieved through vibration. It is all achieved through images that you hold and process in your mind. The physical side of life is the last and lowest level that anything will ever be created on. And yet 98% of the population are living in the physical, where you are so earthbound that you have forgotten the gifts that you were granted with before birth, when you were a little seed in your mum's womb. So we've got to bring you back to this place of understanding that you are a spiritual being, that you are pure, unadulterated spirit, and that you have a mind, and that you have a power flowing to and through you that will take any idea you turn over to it, and it'll begin at once to move it into physical form for you and get you out of the physical and back into the spirit. And understanding how to really use your mind. That's all I have done, is I've been very disciplined every day for a very long time in becoming very disciplined in tapping into spirit, to manifest what I want physically. And when I talk about you wanting it all and not knowing how, when you learn how to do this, you can start to create what you want physically, but not by working in the physical, by working in the spiritual and the mental realm to create what you want physically. And when you learn how to do that, I mean, that's when life becomes magical. That's when you're no longer fighting against or struggling against or forcing against physical circumstances. You actually go within, you go above, and you create what you want below in the physical. Yes, Murray Anderson has a question. You have mentioned a meditation exercise tape from Bob Proctor. Just wondering how I can access it. It's a very easy one to access, actually. It's on YouTube. It's called, if you search for Bob Proctor Abundance Meditation, it was a meditation that he recorded for Omni Valley. And you'll find it there. It's got abundance, Bob Proctor. It looks like a little blue moon or earthscape. It goes for about 20 minutes. It's a great meditation. So that's what I use. That's what connected me with Bob. I didn't even know who he was before then. It was like this whole lid had been lifted, and I feel like I attracted him as much as he attracted me. You know, this material and the work that we're doing, it was very much, you know, the programs and the coaching that we have, it was very much in the infancy there. And there certainly wasn't anyone really making a big deal of it in Australia. So I feel like it was a match made in heaven. No, I'm very blessed to work with Bob and the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And I love what we do. And you should definitely go and have a look up that meditation exercise. All right, Julie Nell. I am conscious of the fine line between a goal I really want, as I think of it all day, to the point I wonder if I'm overthinking it and becoming desperate to be in control of knowing it will happen. Can you add your thoughts about it? Well, I would have you think, Julie, when you are thinking about your goal, are you spending all day thinking about how I'm going to do it? Or are you daydreaming on what it feels like for it already to be done? Because that's where I want you to go. I want you to go to the doneness of it. Rather than spending all the time thinking about the how, spend 90% of the time thinking about what it's going to look like when it's done and how you're going to feel and what you see having yourself having done. And that's going to really help you stay connected to the image of what it is that you want and hold the image for long enough for the physical manifestation of it. And see, when you say that I wonder if I'm overthinking it and becoming desperate to be in control of knowing it will happen, that concept of being desperate to know that it'll happen is purely ignorance. It is purely a lack of understanding and awareness at this point in time, Julie, as to how you create your results. So the more you study the coaching, and you're already in my coaching, so you'll get this. So the more you continue to do what I'm telling you to do, and the more you keep studying, you're going to find that this shifts, where this feeling like desperation, I need to be in control of knowing it's going to happen, because you will have the faith based in understanding, because you know how it all works. You have every single piece of the puzzle put together for you to be able to create exactly what you want. So just keep studying, keep doing the work, but I would check that image that you're actually really going to the end rather than getting caught up and spending all the time trying to figure out the how. When you spend more time in the end, the how will flow to you much more free and easy, and it'll be quick and it'll be fast, and you'll know exactly what you need to do next, and you'll be able to go and execute the plan and actually get it done. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to go back to some more questions here. All right, this is another question that's come in, and a lot of people have asked this question. So I'm going to answer it on tonight's call. This is from Douglas Etheridge. Can you share some more information on your TIR program, price and duration? Not sure if this is where I should start, but any info would be appreciated. So what I thought I would do, rather than answering that one specifically, I would give you an overview of the whole Karen Brook coaching framework of what the educational system looks like for you to tap into. So the foundational program, or where I recommend you start, is Thinking into Results. It's my 6-month foundational coaching program. Whether you are new to personal development or you've been in it for decades, this is exactly where you need to be, because it is going to join all of the pieces of the puzzle for you. It's going to lay it out in a way that you can turn your goal into reality. And it's going to give you the exact stepping stones to do it. I always think about my Thinking into Results coaching as the lid of a puzzle box. And right at the moment, you have many pieces of the puzzle. You have goals over here, you have failures over here, you know a bit about the mind, you've watched a bit of YouTube, you've done some courses, you've done some director courses, you know, you've done some elite executive coaching, or you haven't done anything. So you're all operating with different pieces of the puzzle. What you find is when you get into my TIR, my Thinking into Results coaching, is I'm going to close all of your gaps, one after another. And this is where you're like really learning to walk in life again. And I'm going to get you so crystal clear on what it is that you want and really teach you how to set proper goals. I'm going to guarantee at the moment that you're not setting the right kind of goals to create the results that you want. And I'm going to really get you to really set the right kind of goals, and then take you through the whole process of what is a paradigm, how to change a paradigm, understanding how to unlock more of your gifts and your talents and abilities, and how to master your mind with your 6 mental faculties, how to build a new self-image, how to avoid the number one failure, the number one thing that will sabotage you, which is fear and failure, understanding the psychological process of growth, understanding how to change your belief system so they're in harmony with what you want, you know, understanding all of these different elements and giving you a practical, simple framework to be able to work through that. What I love about that as a foundation, I do say it's a foundation, is because you'll have it forever. One of the things about my coaching and my coaching framework is it's not something that you just come and do and you think, all right, well, I've done that now. Like, I've gathered that information, I can put it back on the shelf and it becomes shelf help. You know what I'm talking about, shelf help. What you're going to find when you work with me is the tools and the understanding that I give you, you will use for the rest of your life, particularly if you keep studying and going at deeper and deeper levels with me, that your level of conscious awareness will continue to expand, and therefore your results will continue to grow. So Thinking into Results is the place to start. It is without question. Like, I signed, enrolled, whatever you want to call it, a couple of new clients today, and I said to them that within 24 hours of you starting this, you're going to feel different. You are just, even the fact when you pay that money, you are going to feel overjoyed and like a little kid in a candy shop. Just the second that you hit send on that money, you are going to feel like that, because you know that you're about to unlock something great within yourself, and you're literally giving yourself the keys to the kingdom. So that's where I really recommend everyone starts. From there, we move into my Quantum Leap coaching, which is a 4-month intensive coaching program. And this is like, you've got the foundation to walk, and now you want to sprint. Now you want to really quantum leap things. Now you're operating with a whole new level of awareness. You've made lots of improvements and shifts in multiple areas of your life over the first 6 to 7 months. And now you really want to take things up to a whole new level. You want to become more efficient, more productive, more effective. You want to become a better leader in your industry. You want to lead your field. You really want to focus on financial prosperity and how you can do more with less. And so then what we look at for everyone that does Thinking into Results, first we look at moving you into the Quantum Leap coaching program. And that really will help you lead your field. That really takes things to a new level. From there, we then move you into, or we start to look at my Inner Circle of Excellence coaching program. This is much more of an elite level, and it's a different style of coaching. This is really for people who want to set a new standard of personal excellence for themselves. You really want to raise the bar, not only on your own personal life, but also on how you're leading your business, your employees, and your community, or anything else that you're involved with. My Inner Circle of Excellence program is very much around creating a standard of excellence to which you aspire and create new results in your life. So when you are at a point where you are, you know that you need to challenge yourself and grow, like you know that you have hit a new ceiling, and it'll be a pretty high ceiling coming through the other couple of coaching programs, when you know that, okay, I need to grow again now. I've got to go again. I've got to really look at what I'm capable of doing and go to a much higher level. And the way I coach you in that program is very different, and we study different material and in a very different way. And I also share, it's called my Inner Circle for a reason, very, very close insights as to how I study, what I study, and the mentorship and guidance that Bob Proctor gives me, I directly pass on to my Inner Circle students. So it's called my Inner Circle of Excellence program. And then from there, we move to Fusion Private Mentoring. So this is one-on-one coaching. So my Fusion Private Coaching program, where I work with you for 12 months in a one-on-one environment. So as you can see, there's the 4 sort of frameworks, and it's designed in a way, it is an educational framework. Every level moves you to a higher state of consciousness. What I'm talking about with that, it's a higher vibration, it's a higher level of awareness with respect to how you fit into this world. And it allows you to create results at a much higher level. So if you look at income, if you look at relationships, if you look at lifestyle, the home you live in, living your best life, having it all, as you expand your conscious level of awareness with respect to how to apply this to your life, how to really make a paradigm shift, your ability to create what you want and live the good life just gets better and better and better. And so every coaching level is designed to move you to a higher state of consciousness so you can create your results at a higher level. In terms of investment, so you're looking at starting at about 7,500, moving to 12,000. Well, sorry, I won't say starting because it's the other way around, but the coaching programs range in price from 7,500, 12, 20, up to $75,000 a year. So this is why, you know, when someone says, oh, what's the program and how much is it? I'm always like, well, it's kind of irrelevant because we don't know what you're looking for yet. We don't know what kind of results you want to create. I actually don't know whether you're committed enough to work with me. So let's get some of that down on paper first. Then we can have a look and really make sure that wherever your entry point is, whether you've done thinking into results with me and you want to move to the next step, or you're coming into this for the first time, then we can sort of start to talk about, well, you know, this is going to be the right next step for you, and this is what the investment's going to be. And one of the things about the investment, and I'll go back to Warren Buffett with this one, he says wealthy people never, ever, ever look at the price of things. They only ever look at what their return on investment is going to be, what they're going to get on the other side of it. And if you want to create a real wealth prosperity mindset, you want to start to think like that you never look at the price tag. You decide whether you want something. How much do you want your goal? How much do you want to improve your relationships? How much do you want to improve your income? How much are you sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Where you're going hell for leather in your business and career, but you don't have any time for your family or friends. You want to grow your family, but you don't have any time for it. I mean, you've got to think about, these are things in your life that are going to change and improve on the other side of working with me. And, you know, you probably can't afford not to. to be quite honest. Some of you won't. You probably might not be ready for this. My coaching is definitely not for everybody. You might not be committed enough yet. You might still be looking for somebody else to fix you, or a quick fix, in which case this is definitely, I'm definitely not the right coach for you. But if you're really serious and you're committed to your goal, whatever it is that you want to create, and solving your own problems, like if you're really willing to take responsibility for that, and you want a helping hand and someone to stand by you and be by your side and believe in you when you don't believe in yourself, then I'd love to hear from you. Email support@karenbrook.com.au and we can talk about the best next step for you, what coaching program you should move into. I'd love to hear from you. And so you can email support@karenbrook.com.au and we can see if working with me is the right fit for you. And we can start the conversation from there. So I hope that answers your question there. But that certainly gives everybody a little bit more of a framework to be able to think about, well, where is my next step? Where do I need to go from here? And reach out to me and let's start that conversation. Doors are going to close on the 20th of December this year. So the 20th of December, 2019, I'm not going to take any new clients into my coaching. I am having my second baby in January and I want to make sure my 100% attention is on my current clients and enjoying that time with my new little one. So I've made that decision that I won't be taking any new clients with me. So you want to make sure that you make a big kickstart on your 2020 now, that you really refuse to be in the same position that you are now in 12 months time, in 6 months time, even in 6 weeks time, and make a decision that you want to work with me, that you want to see if I can help you. And let's talk about what that could look like for you. Make sure that you've got the right level of commitment and desire. And if you do, then I'll say yes to you and you can join my coaching, which is fantastic. We have a lot of fun. All right, let's move on to another question here that I have. This one actually was asked to be answered anonymously, so I'll respect that. How long did it take you to have your thoughts in a consistent, altered pattern? It's a really great question. I'm going to answer that and say it depends on how long the pattern was there before. So if you think about some of the patterns of thoughts and behaviors you might have had for 40 years, you might have had for 20 years, or they could be relatively new, 6 months. What I know is that the time that it takes me now to radically alter a thought or behavioral pattern, of which thought precedes behavior, is dramatically shorter than it ever was before. So if you think about some of the habits that you have been maybe trying to change in your life, let's talk about your thoughts around money and the amount of money that you're earning, and you want to increase the amount of money. How long have you been thinking, I want to earn more money, or why am I in this money position? You know, why do I find myself, no matter how much I earn, I still don't have enough? Let's look at that as a scenario, but you know that you want to break through that ceiling. You might have been having those thoughts for the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and that's going to tell you how hardwired that paradigm is into you. What I have learned through this process, though, is that if you follow it and you do exactly what I tell you to do, not half, not 3/4, the amount of time it takes you to shift that to a new thought pattern so that you can then create what you want physically, like start to triple your income, bang, 4 months, done. You know, you can be up earning 3 or 4 times what you had been earning per month in 2 or 3 months when you apply this, compared to having tried to work on it for the last 5 years beforehand. I remember a client that I worked with, her name was Emma, and it was back in 2016, and she wrote to me, and she still to this day is an avid student of this material. I love her to bits. And she said, I have accomplished more in 6 months with thinking into results than we had accomplished in 6 years of this business. And I just thought that summed it up so perfectly in terms of the time that it takes. Yes, I'm going to ask you to commit, and I'm going to ask you to focus. And there's going to be days where you're going to feel like you don't want to do it. But I'm going to hold you to your goals and your dreams, and I'm going to keep you accountable and support you every single day. And you will have to put in some work. but it'll be so goddamn worth it, because the shift will be permanent, and all of a sudden you're going to have what you want that may have eluded you for years, for decades. I had another client on a Q&A call with me last week, and they said, I've been trying to work on this for 7 years, Karen, and in 10 minutes you've just shifted it for me. So it doesn't take very long, but you've got to do certain things in a certain way. So there's no easy answer for that. Some things I'm going to be able to help you shift really quickly. It'll be one sentence I say to you, and it's going to change everything about how you think and how you operate, and the results will shift super fast. And some things are going to take you a little bit more discipline, a little bit more time, and 30 days or 60 days. But in the big scheme of things, when you look at how long you've been thinking like that or having that experience in a relationship, and in less than 30 days, I can have you thinking and operating differently in that relationship, that could change your life. It could save your marriage. It's cheaper than a divorce, I know that. So it just depends on, what you're working on as to how long these things take to shift. At least you're not operating on a hit and miss basis. That's one good thing about it. Like you actually know, I'm doing exactly what I need to do in the right way. You're not like, is this going to work? I'm not sure. Am I doing it right? Have I got to hold the image? Is it an affirmation? Like, is it positive thinking? I mean, that was me. That was me 5 years ago. I was like, what the hell am I meant to be doing here? I didn't know exactly what order everything needed to be in to give me the confidence, the actual just confidence to be in control of creating what I wanted. So I was always looking outside of myself for the answer. And that's something important, that when you work with me, when I choose to work with you, that I'm going to teach you about you, because I want to get to the point where you actually don't need me anymore as your coach or mentor. You want to stay because I keep taking you to greater levels of awareness. But in terms of really being in control of creating what you want, you now actually know within yourself, and you have the confidence within yourself to know exactly what you need to do to shift or change a situation or circumstance, and you know where to go and what to do within yourself. Like, I want to do myself out of business because I've put you in control of creating what you want, your life of freedom. But I want you to stay because I know that you'll continue to grow if you're in this environment and you're tapped in and we're all growing together. But do you see what I mean? So it's a very different, I don't want you to rely on anyone else but yourself. I want you to have full faith and confidence in yourself that you can create exactly what you want, that you don't have to look outside of yourself. You don't have to go to anybody else to tell you what the right thing is to do or the next thing is to do, that you can make decisions confidently, that you can stand in your own power and authority, that you can feel confident when you're in your own business, when you're in your family environment, when you're in that relationship, when you're out there commanding a 7-figure income in your business, that you feel good about that and you feel in control about that. Like, that's what I want to give you. That's what I get a kick out of. And it's so real and it's so lasting. That's really what it's all about. All right, let's have a look here at a few more questions that are coming in. Perfect. All right, have we got any other questions out there this evening? Otherwise, I'm happy to wrap up this Q&A. Let me know. Let's give you a couple of minutes. Anything else you want me to talk about? What was the story that I said I would talk more about tonight? I can't remember what that was. Remind me if you can remember what it was, and I'm happy to go back and talk about it. Any other questions? Okay, so if you want to find out more information on working with me in any of my coaching programs, just email support@karenbrook.com.au. So that is the one-stop shop, the only email address, the only link you need to know is support@karenbrook.com.au. And we'll get you the information that you're looking for. We'll make sure that it's a right fit for you, and then we'll get you started. It's pretty simple. All right. Okay. Well, I think that concludes our session this evening. It's been so much fun to be online with you. I've loved every second of it. Oh, this is a good one that's just come in right in the nick of time. I absolutely love it. It is an anonymous question. Once again, you said not to hang out with people that are negative. What happens if you're married to them? Boom. I love that question. Okay, so here's a couple of things that you can do. So you have to change the image that you hold of that person. So the paradigm at the moment, or the way in which you exist in that relationship, is that they're a very negative person. So there's two parts of this. You can't change them, but you can change your response to them. And so there is a dynamic at the moment in this relationship where you might be more positive and they might be more negative. And that dynamic plays out. You say something, they say something negative. So all of the work that you have to do to transform this situation is within yourself. It has actually nothing to do with the other person. And what I want you to start to do is to think about a different image of that person and start to go back and think about the things that you fell in love with about that person. What was it that drew you to them? What did you fall in love with? And write down those words. And every time you think of that person, start to think about those characteristics of the person that you married. Right, because at the moment, your perception, your automatic thinking when you're in that dynamic is that they're so negative, they don't support anything that I'm doing, they're not interested, they're not up for growth, whatever it is. And so because you're thinking it, you're projecting it, and you're maintaining the status quo of how that dynamic happens. So one of the easiest things that you can do is to go and think about the 5 things that you fell in love with, the 5 reasons why you married them, and write them down somewhere that they don't need to know what it's about or to see the words or the letters. But every time you think of them, think of those letters, think of those feelings or reasons. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to project a new image within yourself of that person, new energy, and you will feel better. And the other side of this answer, so 2 parts of this answer, is the more in control you become of yourself, the more you learn how to master your mind and create the reality that you want. What is going on outside of you, even with a person who is very close to you, who might be negative, they will have less and less impact on you. You will be able to be in control from within, where what they say or how they behave will have less and less impact on you because you've actually created the control from within. And you'll actually find that that will shift the dynamic and it'll shift the relationship to a more positive one. So it really is all about you. I've got a great friend of mine. She was one of my bridesmaids. She's a psychotherapist and she works with a lot of couples. And I remember her mentoring someone that I know. And she said, the most important thing to remember in a relationship is you are responsible for your own happiness. The other person is not responsible for your happiness in that relationship. You are responsible for your own happiness in that relationship. So if you come back to that, thoughts are energy, and if you're thinking negatively about another person, that negativity is going to flow all the way through you. If you're thinking positively, in positive terms about a situation or a person, you're flooding that energy, it goes through you. That person may never change, may, continue to be negative, but it's not going to eat away at you anymore because you're in control of you. So that's just a little insight. I could speak for hours on that topic, but that's just a little insight and a couple of little things that you can do to have that control from within. Beautiful. All right, I'll just check our other group. Oh, I love it. That's great. All right, I'm going to wrap up tonight's call there. Thank you for being online and being fully present here this evening. As always, if I can help you in any other way, or you'd like information on working with me and if it's the right fit, then email support@karenbrook.com.au and we can start that conversation with you. Have a great night. Take care, and I'll see you online again soon. Bye.